I see everyone is coming in.
Beautiful.
We'll be getting ready to start momentarily. Just get yourself situated, and I hope you have a cup of tea or ice cold drink, and we're really excited to have you here with us. Just a heads up, just a reminder, just use your the chat feature of this particular platform to ask any questions that you have, and we will do our best to try and answer them towards the end of this presentation. And to the extent that we're not able to do so, we will make sure we do so offline. But happy to have you join us. Okay, we're going to get started. Hi, everyone. I know that this period has been a difficult time for most of us and a very stressful time, not just for us in Bermuda, but all over the world, to be honest with you. So we are in good company. I appreciate the challenges that lie ahead for all of us, but I also am very cognizant of the opportunities that are yet to be tapped into and the creativity and the innovation that is in front of us. And today, I am really excited to have you all here with us, and thank you for your time. And we have an opportunity to hopefully lend our skills to each one of you that can provide some practical support to you during this particular time. I was reading an article just recently in HBR, and they were talking about what customer service is going to look like post-pandemic. And it was kind of interesting. They talk a little bit about entrepreneurs and individuals that are either providing products or professional services need to reimagine what customer service is going to look like and redefine what that baseline of customer satisfaction is. So I thought that was interesting, and how we will need to take customers to the next level of experience. So we know that a well-mannered professional is easily remembered. They have a lasting impact. They have a lasting impression, and we have only a few seconds to make that impression. And the level of etiquette that we have is one such way that we can make an incredible impact on our customers, not just our customers, but convert them into clients. So I'm really excited to be here today. My name is Lorene Phillips, and I'm the founder of Clarendon Wallace, a coaching firm. And I have with me a friend and colleague. I have Philip Sykes. I'm sure you can see him right there. He is dialing in from the UK, so he's about 4 hours ahead of us. Philip, say hi to Bermuda, albeit virtually.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, people.
Fantastic. I actually gave Philip a heads up, and I shared with him some of the unique traits of Bermudians. And one is saying good morning, even if it's in the afternoon. So he's definitely a good student and a good listener. So we know that good etiquette is more than please and thank you. It's all in the how you do it and the why you do it. In fact, it's both. And having good etiquette, or in fact, great etiquette, is what is required in order to raise that level of customer service, the one I spoke about at the outset, about reimagining what customer service is going to look like post-COVID. And we know that the bar is being raised. And modern etiquette, it's not something that's stuffy. It's actually, when done right, it's very savvy, and it's a way that we conduct ourselves so that others feel comfortable in our presence. Maya Angelou says, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget the way that you make them feel, and how true that is. So Philip, I have a couple of questions that I'm going to toss your way, and of course I'll pipe in as needed. But I thought we would address a couple of what I would call some standard etiquette question, and also overlay that in terms of the environment that we're in now. So from your perspective, what is a good etiquette that can easily engage a customer and also convert that customer into a client, from your perspective?
Great question. For me, it's about the human interaction. Now, in this environment we're in right now, obviously shaking hands is definitely not on the table or an option. So again, your body language is going to be a huge part of how you connect with people. It's going to be very much an opportunity for you to respect someone from a distance. And so, Lorene and I have been talking about ways of connecting with people and showing that you sincerely appreciate them joining you or coming into your environment. So, as a lot of people do, is a hand on the heart with a beautiful smile. You need to have that eye contact. For me, ladies and gentlemen, the eye contact is along the following lines. You need to have 3 seconds and long enough to know the person's color of their eyes. If I turn around now and someone said to me, what color are Lorene's eyes? I can say they're beautiful hazelnut brown. You need to then go to the human triangle. We need to connect facially. You can't be looking off in different directions. You will not make that connection and that impact. This smile is possibly one of the most engaging things we can do with our facial expression. And when we smile, let's smile with our eyes. Our eyes need to lighten up. And funny enough, we were talking about this the other day, is that more and more people are wearing these surgical masks. And if you see someone that you are connecting with or engaging, they should be able to know that you're smiling under your mask because your eyes have gone bling, they've just lit up. And the other thing is this beautiful namaste and a little head tilt or a little wave, hello, how are you? Connecting and engaging, whether it be online through a Zoom call or whether it be that 6 feet apart, you can still make a huge impact with people despite the fact that we can't firmly shake their hand.
Mm-hmm. Those are really great ideas. I think I'll toss in there as well. Just being really prompt when somebody is in your presence in terms of attentiveness. I guess about 3 or 4 weeks ago, just after we came out of shelter in place, for some reason, I had this desire to go out and purchase a scent that smells like Christmas. See, Christmas is my happy place, and Christmas scent is my happy place. I'm very happy when I smell Christmas tree. And so I went to this particular store in the city here in Bermuda, and I walked into the store, and the gentleman that is the entrepreneur there was so prompt and attentive. I felt a bit silly explaining to him that in almost summer I was looking for a scent that smells like Christmas. And he was just made me feel really comfortable. And he looked around. He said, that's a seasonal scent, so we don't have that now. He said, but I do have one under the counter here that we use around, that we spritz in the store so that it smells really lovely. You are more than welcome to have that, and it's complimentary. And I will tell you, when you've been in shelter in place for a long time and you have an experience like that, you're just absolutely just emotionally connected. And immediately he converted me from a customer to a client. I know that store, I'll be back there regardless of how much it costs. I will be back. And that is what we're talking about. We really have to upscale the way that we interact with our client and look for, I'm not even saying traditional ways anymore, but almost going back to the basics of really connecting with individuals, because now with most of the shopping experience and the commercial experience moving online, we really have to up our game in terms of our contact when we do have them with customers to make sure that they want to come again. And one way that we can really set ourselves apart is really by making sure that we deliver in terms of our customer service when they are not only in our presence, but also when they are digitally there as well. So we have to be cognizant of creating a positive experience for our customers and our clients, whether we're online or offline, because the world is constantly changing. So one of the things, Philip, that you and I talk a lot about is the art of listening and how important that is as a core competency, to be honest with you, that we can all start practicing, and especially now when things are as fluid as they are. Can you just touch a little bit about how listening attentively communicate respect and how that translate in terms of the customer experience?
Love that question. And just before I really get into the meat and the flesh on the art of listening and the importance of listening, I'd love to just add a little bit to what you were just saying. It is about the experience. And ladies and gentlemen, people buy people, and people do business with people we like and trust. The most important thing is I want you all to adopt a what can I do for you attitude, or how may I help you attitude, because that will help you raise your game. And really at the end of the day, it's about that attention to detail. It's go above and beyond. So what Lorene was sharing with you gives me goosebumps, because this is the thing about under promise and over deliver. Under promise, over deliver. The moment you adopt that sort of attitude, boom, you're going to get the most beautiful reaction. You have a customer, and then you want them to become a long-term customer, which is your client. You want them to, and not only that, ladies and gentlemen, you are your brand. You are your own brand. So for anyone out there, if I was asking you to tell me about why you use a certain type of telephone, and let's say it happens to be an Apple, you go, oh, Philip, it's amazing. It's got this camera, and it does this, and it does that, and Apple are just going, woohoo, baby, yeehaw, we're loving you, because you're an advocate for them. You need to be an advocate for you and the brand, or your own entrepreneurial journey. You are your brand. You need to push that out there, okay? Going back to the listening, this is, I think, where most human beings fall down dramatically. And the beautiful thing about listening is we can learn it. We can actually learn to listen. The long and short of it is, most people listen to reply. We do not listen to understand. I want you all to really think that one through, and I do hope you've all got pen and paper here, because if you want tips and tricks, go to the internet. You want to really elevate yourself to another level, you better be writing these. These are fundamental tools. They are golden nuggets that you will be able to take away from this evening. And I promise you right now, we listen to reply. You need to learn to listen to understand. This is part and parcel of someone who really gets the customer and turns them into a client. Because the moment we understand what they need, what they want, we can take them on the most incredible journey. We can give them the most unbelievable experience. And that is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the art of conversation. Lorene and I have all these skills that we deliver through our programs, and that's just the start of listening. One of the other areas when it comes to listening is listen with all your senses. So your body language. You know, for example, if I'm engaging in a deep conversation with Lorene and she's telling me something of interest, the moment I tilt my head and lean in, she knows she's got me. Boom! I'm now riveted. I'm in the conversation. I'm all hers. So please, ladies and gentlemen, make this an absolute must on your to-do list. Get to grips with the art of conversation and the art of listening.
Thank you so much. You know, as you were speaking, I was reflecting on my career. So I have been in the corporate world for almost 30 years. And yeah, I started when I was 10. And most recently on my own entrepreneurial journey. And one of the features, or one of the areas where I stood out the most, was really in my ability to listen. I have seen where being able to, and I'm just really echoing your point of not listening to reply, but listening to first to understand, is that when you do that, the respect that it lends, and also you can see the change in the body language of the customer or the client in terms of how engaging they are with you, and you're far more memorable as well. And it also allows the client to understand that they are the priority, that you are there to listen to them, to meet their needs, to find out what is important to them. So I cannot overemphasize how important listening is. It's a lost art, but it needs to be developed. And particularly now, in the times that we find ourselves, it is even more important to do so. Now, Philip has an interesting background. Before he was a founder of the British School of Etiquette, Philip actually ran a Michelin star restaurant back in 1994 called Pages in Time. So Philip, I know that this particular restaurant was known for its immaculate service and incredible repeat customers, and people just lining up to come. Can you share maybe one or two things in particular that you did that was so unique that your customers kept coming back over and over and over again?
I love that question, and it's my Achilles heel in the restaurants. Ladies and gentlemen, this, you must please go back in time. For those of you, as Lorene said, she was very young when she joined the corporate sector. I was young when I set my restaurant up. We didn't have computers to the extent of as you do now, laptops and things on a desktop. We literally had books to write in, and we were fastidious about making personal notes about each customer that walked through the door. We would remember birthdays. We would remember their children's names. We would remember anniversaries. We would remember what they ordered each time they came in. We would even go down as far as realizing that they swapped their cutlery because they left-handed individuals, and the next time they came into the restaurant, the cutlery would already have been set so that when they sat down, it would be a wow moment. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, the wows are not about how much money you throw at the problem. The wows are the attention to detail, going the extra mile, you know, remembering the detail and really making an effort to connect with people. This is something that we can all do. You do not need to be a wizard, abracadabra, and a bunny rabbit jumps out the hat. It's the small, minute little things that really leave this amazing long-term impression with people. And it's the thoughtfulness and it's the kindness. We made a huge effort to listen to what people's requirements were, which gave us the opportunity, if we didn't have something on the menu, we would create something to suit their palates, for example. We would make sure that if they had asked for a particular wine, we didn't have it in stock, I would make sure that I would get a few bottles knowing that they would be back. Say, sir, you remember that wine that you mentioned the last time? I now have a few bottles in stock and I have one on ice right now ready for you to enjoy if you so would like to choose it. I mean, and these, I'm just scratching the tip of the iceberg again. I mean, you know, we really made a huge effort of, you know, again, handwriting letters to people. I have a great expression, which you're very privy and familiar with, is known as the power of the pen. And for me, we used to handwrite thank you letters to people. We used to send handwritten birthday cards to our customers. We used to, out of the blue, send them best wishes for a period of their life that they're celebrating, be it an anniversary or be it a company achievement or something like that. We really made an effort to think about how can we impress people and how can we wow people. And again, just to finish up on this, ladies and gentlemen, the two most important things we have in our life are time and our health. So every moment counts in this world. Time is the most valuable thing we have along with health. So when people are in your presence or when people are part or becoming part of your organization, in other words, you're bringing them in as a customer, then a client, time is one of the most beautiful things you can share with the people that you incorporate and surround yourself with. And make sure that the time spent with you is memorable. And that is really one of the most keys to anyone's potential success in a business.
Absolutely, being memorable. You know, when you're in a competitive environment, and we are in that now, we've always been, but even more so now, setting yourself apart from the competition is even more critical. And etiquette and the way that you conduct yourself, the way that you show up, and being intentional about how you show up and knowing the long-term game of that is very, very important. Another thing that I've been thinking about are some of the practicalities of just being in the pandemic. The other day, I met up with a colleague, and she was just about to give me a really nice warm hug. And I said, oh, I would rather not. And, you know, I politely said, you know, I would like to keep the 6 feet distance, etc. So, and I realized that it is an adjustment for everyone. And I think earlier this week as well, I also had to set up a meeting with a client, a potential client, and I offered her the option of a meeting in person with at a location where we can have 6 feet distance, or outside as well, and or we could meet virtually, and she could bring her cup of tea, and she chose the latter. So can we just talk a little bit about just some of the physical changes from an etiquette perspective that we should anticipate that will now happen, and perhaps will stay to us at least for the near future?
Great question and great examples. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we do need to be very aware that some people may not be able to explain their current situation. So give people options. I think that's one of the real fundamentals. Give people the option, you know, and bring some lightness into it. So, for example, that particular situation that Lorene is mentioning there is maybe the person might have had something that she didn't want to divulge. And so by giving the option, she said, you know what, I'd love a Zoom coffee with you. You grab a coffee and we can have a good banter over the internet and connect that way. And I think it'll be more for all of us. So, you know, bring some practicality to it. And again, ladies and gentlemen, you know, how quickly do we judge somebody? And it's quick, it's instantaneous, it's 3%. And, you know, we shouldn't judge, absolutely. And it's an art not to learn not to judge. But again, the way you can circumvent judging people is by placing yourself in that person's shoes. But always make an effort to turn up. You know, punctuality is something that is huge. Rather be 1 hour
Yes.
early than 1 minute late. That for me is an absolute must. I think, you know, as I said earlier, time is possibly one of the most valuable things along with health. When you are late, you're disrespecting someone else and you're showing lack of respect to you. So
Yes.
time, punctuality, show up. It doesn't matter. You know, I could be here in my t-shirt and jeans and I could still present to you, but no, I'm very proud. Firstly, I hope I'm wearing some colors that sort of reflect the Bermudian, sort of resemble some appreciation to some of the colors you have in your country. But again, you know, making sure that this elevates me. This really makes me a
Mm.
with at least 25% more confidence, more dynamic, more energy, and it really will help you. So again, when we are connecting with people through in these modern times now, there is very much strong etiquette. And please understand that etiquette manners is not a nice to have. They are a fundamental need to have. These are crucial tools. And Lorene and I have this adage, is the power of etiquette and manners are incredible. It will take you to another level. The more you show respect and the more you engage with people with confidence, with presentation, with posture, with poise, you will see there's a complete different shift of people connecting and engaging with you. The other thing that I really want to bring into play is make sure that your background, if you're doing a lot of work through Zoom and connecting with people through your home office, make sure that your desk is tidy, you don't have any distractions, and that your backdrop looks very professional. You do not need distractions, because I promise you right now, more than ever before, and Lorene's alluded to this right from the word go, we are being observed on every move we make. So if I'm standing here talking to you and I see something out the window over here, I have a window over there, by the way, and I all of a sudden sort of gaze while Lorene's chatting, and I'm like, I'm not connecting with you. I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the zone. So get rid of any apparatuses that will distract you. Be respectful. You know, in conversation, how many of us all of a sudden take a phone call while we're talking to someone? We really need to start thinking and thinking really hard. It's not difficult to make these wow moments a wow moment and to make these lasting impressions, but you need to be present and you need to think things through.
That's a really good point, Philip, that you've brought up. You know, we're in a virtual environment, and there are some um, etiquette and some standard that is required in terms of not just maintaining your professionalism, but elevating it as well in this environment. And I'm glad you brought up the point about background and noise level, and you know, about being on time as well. It's the same thing if you have a online meeting, be on time. My rule of thumb is log in at least 5 to 10 minutes before the call, get situated, make sure everything is working, make sure that your headsets are working, any issues with your phone, internet, whatever you need to do, get that all sorted out, because believe me, the unexpected can happen. Today I was all set for this call, and I was actually about an hour and a half ahead of schedule, and I wondered, why am I so early? And then the electricity went out. Yes, it did. All of the electricity went out in my area, and I just quickly jumped in the car and found another location, which is my sister's office, and she has a really nice clean desk, and you can tell that a professional works here. So the way that we come across is extremely important. And I will add as well that on camera, everything is magnified. Your expressions are magnified. People are looking at you when you speak. You can't really hide. So it's very, very important that you're aware of how you look and how you show up in an online and in a virtual environment. Absolutely key. Everything is being considered. I will also wanted to mention, just so that everyone is aware of how much our nonverbal communication is. It's north of 80% of our body language. You know, there, some say 80 something, some say 93%. The point is, well north of 80% of our communication is through nonverbal. So it's in our smile, it's in our expressions in our eyes, making sure that our eyes and our smile matches. So when you say good morning, actually your smile and your eyes are all agreeing that it is good morning. People do respond to that, and it communicates authenticity, and it communicates how genuine you are, and people will respond to that. So I thought I'll just make a note of that. it's not just what you say, it's also how you say it, and be mindful of your nonverbal and how that is aligned with what you're saying. Make sure your body language and your words are aligned with what you're saying, and that it is giving that one clear professional message that you would like your customer or client to receive. Okay, thought I would just add that there. Okay, so we talked a little bit about hugs and handshakes, because we spend a lot of time in London talking about the perfect handshake. And I've read articles where they say that individuals have shared where they've hired someone just based on a handshake, or they've done a deal with somebody because that handshake was just so awesome. It was just that 3 second was just that impact. And we spent a lot of time, right, Philip, going over the perfect handshake. And as a feedback, I will let you know that when I came back, I practiced those skills, and time and time again, I would get a feedback. Wow, that was an amazing handshake. So after all that training, I think it will come back. It's going to be a little bit of time, but what are some of the other, other ways that we can really greet each other, or even say goodbye to each other as we part ways? We're with a client, or and we've either we've had a conversation or we shared a meal and we're saying goodbye. You did the hand over the heart, but what are some of the other options that we can consider in this during this time?
And look, there's a lot of fun sides, so people touching up
Yeah, I did the elbow thing too.
the elbows. That's the thing
Yeah,
that maybe
yeah, and the
surgery.
Obama's bump is coming back. Yes.
For
Yeah.
me, depending on the moment, I think from a corporate business
Hmm.
perspective, I think that hand on the heart's very endearing.
I do
And a little,
like that.
and yeah, just a
Yes.
little, just a little head nod and how are you, and acknowledge, hello, how are you? Or, I love the namaste. I think the namaste carries huge significance, and you
Hmm.
see many people around the world and you don't need to bow like the Japanese. You can
Hmm.
just, still looking at the
Yeah.
person, lean in a little bit, add that extra bit of body language, because
Hmm.
you're not, if I greeted you stepping back, that's going to be very negative. So it's sort of leaning in, maybe put your right foot forward and just come in and say, it's a pleasure to meet you. How are
Hmm.
you? That lovely little bit of eye contact. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously, the old adage, the wave, hello, how are you?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
connecting on these Zoom calls and that sort of thing. Maybe you say good afternoon or good morning, team. Today we're going to talk about how we're going to take this company to the next level. I hope you're all well. You're looking, and you can engage with this very, maybe call it slightly exaggerated bit of body language, but
Hmm.
it's so powerful. And I just want to go back to what Lorene was saying. That power of nonverbal communication is huge. 7% of what actually comes out of our mouth is the words. The rest is all body language and tone
Yeah.
of voice. So you all need to be very aware of what you're saying, how you're saying. One of the other really powerful things that I would love to share with all of you is professional language skills. How do we speak? How do we connect with our audience? Through the power of voice, through the power of tone of voice, and through language of a professional. So, for example, how can I help you? Or how may I assist you? How may I help you? May I invite you this way rather than follow me? Little bits of detail. This is
Hmm.
exactly what this is about. But going back to the greeting, yeah, I think keep it simple. A little bit of a namaste or the hand on the heart. How are you? Welcome to the store. Please, may I invite you this way? And then, there's still this beautiful bit of engaging and inviting body language. And I think that really works exceptionally well.
Very good point. And then I guess to bring it back to like a virtual environment, I'm thinking aloud here, but so many times we are actually interacting perhaps for the first time with a potential client, and they're meeting us virtually, and we really need to make that connection, and we really need to have that wow factor immediately. So back to my comment earlier about making sure you log in early, make sure you're present, make sure you're there, make sure you're prepared. Actually, make sure you're over prepared. That's my rule. Be over prepared, and just make sure that the best version of yourself shows up. Because that few seconds that you interact with that client virtually is probably the most powerful opportunity that you will have to connect. And just really, like Philip said, and I've been saying, watch those nonverbals. They communicate so much that you're not even aware of that you're giving off. So just be very mindful of that. So how do you tactfully decline a invite to a dinner or to a coffee if you're not yet comfortable to attend? In the past, certainly, you never did that. If you were invited out, you just went. But now, given the environment that we're in, what are your guidelines in terms of some of the better ways to do this?
Again, bring polite language to your conversation. On this occasion, I think I'd like to just take a rain check until the environment, and until we get back into a zone or an area where people are feeling more comfortable mingling. It could be that I've got older parents that I'm in contact with, and I just don't want to affect them. Just be honest. I think the honesty is the most important thing. And people,
Yeah.
what we like and want right now is people will absolutely respect your wishes. They have to. For example, here right now in the United Kingdom, we as a family, we're still not entertaining. We still have friends who will most probably stand 2 meters from the front door, and maybe we pop a cup of coffee on the windowsill. And we don't, as much as we want to invite them in, and we know them well, you've got to unfortunately stick to the rules and regulations, and you've got to be respectful. And one of the main reasons is this: just because we can't see this wretched pandemic, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. We think, oh, this is not, is it really real? Why can't we go? We really do need to take this seriously, because right now, as we've all seen around parts of the world, there's surges of it starting again. You just need to look at the US, you need to look at parts of Africa, you need to look at other parts of India, you need to look at parts of the United Kingdom, where in the north of the country, boom, it just exploded again. So we need to be serious about this. Until there is an actual cure, I think you can be blatantly open, blatantly honest with people, and just say, look, occasion, if you please accept my apologies, I'm not going to accept on this occasion, but please don't forget me. I'll take a rain check. And that for me is, I think, the most dynamic and a professional way and friendly way to connect and engage with people on that front.
Absolutely, and no one should feel pressured to do otherwise. Again, it's all in the how you do it, and that leads nicely into the next area that I want to touch briefly on, and that has to do with the art of writing and written skills. And I will say, maybe for the last 10 years or so, I was a little bit worried that the fundamentals of good business writing had been tossed out the window, and you were getting in all these abbreviated emails. But with the onset of COVID and the move towards remote working as really the new normal, the need to write well and write clearly is more important than ever before. Now you're being asked to put your thoughts, outline your strategy, and create write your position on a particular issue in writing ahead of a call. So there is now a need actually for all of us to fine tune our written skills, our writing skills, and make sure that it is on point and make sure that it is professional. So I wanted to kind of just chat with you a little bit about that. You mentioned in the beginning about the thank you note, that I'm a fan of. Every time I would send a client a thank you note, I always got a phone call and then another note from them. The phone call would go something like, I haven't received a thank you note in years. Somebody actually took the time to write and put it in the mail. I mean, it was just phenomenal. And if you want to find a way to be remembered, that's an incredible way to be remembered. So we're back to the art of writing as an etiquette tool that we can use to separate ourselves and to be more memorable. What are some of the things, Philip, that you can suggest during this time that can help those that are a part of this call to perhaps start to incorporate right now?
Definitely, and I love this because I'm passionate. I literally call it the power of the pen.
That's right.
Let's take this in two directions. Firstly, obviously, the most and the quickest and easiest way would be an email to someone. You need to be professional, as Lorene was saying. You can't avoid a spelling mistake. So don't rely on your computer to do your spell check work for you. You need to reread every message. Firstly, have a clear subject line. Have a very clear subject line. People are busy. They want to know, is this email relevant? Is it for me? Have a clear subject line. Do not write in capitals, because then you're shouting at somebody, and do not use exclamation marks. Always open your introductory email with a dear or hello. Going shorthand like hi and hiya, kill it. It's not professional and it's not nice. So the dear or hello, how are you? Or I hope this email finds you well. Leave a space in the content, the body of your email. Leave a space. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Kind regards, best wishes, yours sincerely or yours faithfully. And I will give you a little introduction into those areas there shortly. But sign off with your name. And if necessary, and I would always urge you to put your telephone number at the footer of your signature, and if necessary, your company website. So details are very important. Make it easy for people to look you up. Make it easy for people to connect with your organization. Don't make them work for this. If you're writing to someone that you don't know the name of, obviously with the internet we can pretty much do our homework and find out who the person could be. But let's say you don't know, so to whom it may concern, then you would sign off with yours faithfully. And that's a capital Y and a small f, 2 words. If it's dear Miss Phillips, and I've never met Lorene before, but I know her surname, and it's always surname. You don't jump to first name. Dear Miss Phillips, then I would sign off with yours sincerely, a capital Y, a small s. So that's very, very important. And I'm just giving you, I'm scratching the surface with email etiquette, but it is fundamental. Again, if you're blind CCing people in, don't do that. It's not fair, unless it's just to inform someone of a bit of detail. But if you are doing an email where you have to give someone a bit of a revving, or you need to sort of inject a little bit of energy, in other words, they're not performing, firstly, write that email, but walk away before you send it and ask yourself one question. How would I feel if I received that email? Remember, ladies and gentlemen, an email doesn't have tone or any energy to it. I could send an email to 2 different people. The person A reads it, no drama with it. The person B goes, that's offensive. So again, just be very aware of the choice of the words you're using. Make it, and don't use big words in there unless it's relating to the product or the profession you're in. Okay, so that's email etiquette, and that's just touching the surface there. Handwritten, don't use the excuse, oh, my handwriting's poor, because you can practice. Trust me, you can practice. When we write personal letters or personal cards, it's always on a smaller piece of paper. So business letters are A4, and it's typed with a handwritten dear Miss Phillips, and you sign off with your name with a pen, but the body of the actual business letter is typed up and it's on A4, whereas handwritten letters would be on almost an A4 folded in half. So I don't know what that size is. I think it's A5. And that it should be on unlined paper. So you have a little bit of a lining underneath the paper, and you write on lovely cream or white paper. It really stands out, and it makes a very polished professional impression. Please don't worry about your handwriting. The fact that you've taken time to sit and write to someone, and put it in the post, boom, that will make a lasting impression. And do it for no reason at all. Write to someone you haven't spoken to in ages. Write to a friend, write to a colleague, write to a family member, and use this as a really amazing tool to connect with people.
You know, that's a really good point about your handwriting, because I have what they call a lawyer's handwriting. I should have been a lawyer. It is absolutely horrible, but I blame my dad. It's genetic. But you know, you slow down and you take your time, and people really do, they really do appreciate it. But the art of writing and understanding how that is a really beautiful way of showing good etiquette and also being memorable as well with your clients is one thing. It's a really low bar. It's something that you can start doing right away. So if you have a few clients that you haven't connected with for a while, now may be a good time to get some cards out and write a personal note, inquire how they're doing. And as Philip says, not because there's anything in it for you, but because you genuinely care about that particular client. And I promise you it will be most favorably received, and you will set yourself apart from everyone else. That's really a good point. So I had an extra bonus question, Philip. So if you had to pick one thing that it doesn't matter what the reason is that you should not do, the one thing that can single-handedly tank a customer's experience, what would that be in your opinion?
What would that be?
You can only pick one. You've done so much, and I'll give you mine afterwards. But you know, if you had to pick just that one thing.
that one thing, what would you
Yes.
not, what would you not do?
Yes.
Um, oh, there's so many. What is the one thing that would really sink my opportunity with a customer? I think be aggressive with them. I think, have an aggressive attitude, sort of,
Mhm.
you're wasting my time. You're in my space. What do you want here?
Mhm.
And
Yes.
then your body language and your tone of voice. We know that,
Mhm.
and which I shared with you, never let your mood dictate your manners. Never let your mood dictate your manners. And something on that note, I think this is something that I really want to share with everyone, is that there's the most wonderful two letters, EQ, which basically translates into emotional intelligence.
Right.
And this is something Lorene and I have been talking about launching a product into the Bermudian market. And there's a great opportunity for people of all walks of life to really elevate themselves to the next level. And that is by engaging and learning about EQ and building your emotional intelligence. It's the most wonderful opportunity for you to change your life in every sector. So business, personal, social, it'll change your life for the rest of your life. So for me, I think rudeness is definitely something that you can't tolerate rude people
Mhm.
or people who are abrupt with you. And no matter, I know they might be having a bad day, but we as
Yeah.
human beings, we have the ability, it's a choice. We have a choice. Your attitude is a choice. Whether you have a good attitude or a bad attitude, it's controlled by you.
Yeah. 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 That's a good one. I'll tell you my absolute, the one that gets me not very happy as a customer, and you will not get me as a client, is when I feel totally ignored. Yeah. So when I come into a store, or I'm in the queue, if I'm in the UK, join the queue, etc., and you just get the feeling that you're not valued, you're not welcome. That feeling of not feeling welcome. And to my earlier point at the beginning, it's about how you make that initial contact is very important. Very often you see customers walk out of a store or walk out of an establishment, or didn't return the phone or a phone call, or hang up a phone call because they're waiting and they're waiting. Certainly, and what is happening is that with the services moving more online, physical location, the way we interact physically, we have to find ways to really differentiate ourselves, and this is one of the ways that we can do that. Now, I know that we are tasked with, if you're serving someone in a physical environment, you have the mask wearing to challenges to deal with, you have the physical distance challenges to deal with, you have to track the number of people that are in the store, whether that be customers and or employees at any one time. You have to offer, you have to increase the speed of your service. So, for example, going to my hairdresser is no longer this. I just show up at my hairdresser. It's a blocked out time. She has to check my temperature. I have to wear a mask at all times. It's so much more work that she has to do in order to complete that one sale. And I will tell you, she does such an amazing job that I know I'm not just a customer, I'm her client for life. So now we are required to provide not just business as usual service, but we're expected as entrepreneurs, as individual working with customers, they are demanding more from us, and we're required to give more as well. So I do appreciate that there's a big ask here, but I believe that a lot of these demands will continue to stay with us for a while, and we have to adjust and next level up the way that we interact. And to your point, Philip, about making sure that how we treat others does not reflect how we feel, is really professionalism. Being emotionally intelligent to self-manage our emotions so that the best versions of ourselves is what that customer sees, is what that client sees, because we don't want to have a transactional relationship with one person. We want to have a long-term relationship with our customer that then becomes a client, and a client for life, right?
And you want to create advocates. You want to create those.
Yes.
You've just shared with, I don't know how many we have on this amazing opportunity in this webinar together, but how many people have you just shared that wonderful experience in the store where the gentleman went above and beyond
Yep.
to offer you the scent? I mean, I get
Mhm.
goosebumps listening to that, because
Yeah.
Boots just most probably increased his sales by another 10% for the rest. And this is what this is about.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, with all due respect, Business is not difficult. I promise you that. Business is not difficult. We as human beings, we complicate things. We make things difficult for ourselves. You know, you really need to understand that this is all about people. People
Yeah,
buy people, and people do business with people they like and trust.
that's correct. That's correct.
That is, and I love your analogy about, you know, being ignored, because for me, there's no excuse. You need to connect with people. You want to do well in life? Learn to connect with people. Oh, but I'm an extrovert. I can't handle. Well, then you shouldn't be doing the job you're doing. Or you go and you take on board a course on how to be better with people. You grow your ability. Everything is doable. We all need to adopt as well in this world not a fixed mindset. You want to adopt a growth mindset.
Correct.
You've really got to understand that we need a I can do attitude. I'm going to try attitude. I'm going to make a difference attitude. And this for me is absolutely fundamental.
I absolutely agree with you. And you know, these skill sets are skill sets that will last you for the rest of your life. It's not just about how you function in a professional environment or in a work environment, but it should be who you are. So who you are is who you are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's the way that you make others feel when they're in your presence. And Philip reminds me of that all the time. Good etiquette, it's not this stuffy thing. It's not about knives and forks and is the bread knife here. It's, yeah, that's a part of it as well, but it's really about making others feel feeling welcome when they're in your presence, and also being respectful of them and treating them not the way you want to be treated, but more so the way they want to be treated. That is a distinction that is there. Remember to treat the customer or the client the way that they want to be treated. And when you think of it in that way, it's less about you and it's more about them, which is the way that it should be. So I know we focused on quite a few different areas of etiquette and different types of techniques that we can use to show up both in an online and in an offline environment. And I just hope that some of the examples and some of the nuggets that we've shared with you are things that you can start applying right away. Maybe we've shared a story with you, or we shared an experience with you that you can identify with, making sure that your nonverbal cues are in sync and aligned with your verbal, with your content, making sure that they're aligned so that that customer get that one clear message, that professional message. I wrote on a couple of things that you said as well, Philip. One was about under promising and over delivering. That is so key. So, you know, when we're dealing with customers, we want to make sure not just we give them what they want, but we want to go above that as well and being able to deliver that, like the story I shared with the guy at the store. That's what then converts that transactional relationship into something far more meaningful and for the long term. Customers experience should be positive. And the world is moving so fast, but even with COVID layered on top of that, it's created a whole other dynamic. So we need to make sure that when we service our customers to convert them to client, we need to make sure that we are serving them in a way that we operate with less friction, that we are providing a very positive customer experience, and that the experience is memorable, and that we're professional at all time, that we're displaying those etiquettes, those etiquette traits that we talk about, so that our customers can become our clients. And good etiquette is really good business. Would you agree, Phil?
Summed it up beautifully.
Yeah.
You summed it up beautifully. And then again, you know, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, think about it this way. You're one person, one opportunity away from someone changing your life for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So you stand out from the crowd, you make a difference in someone's life. Boom, that could trigger you into a zone of your life that you never believed was ever possible. Mm-hmm. So take what we're sharing with you with open arms, embrace what we're sharing with you, and run with it. The beautiful thing about what we shared with you today is that this is now. You can walk away from this webinar and implement everything we've shared with you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And consistency. Lorene said to me, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And that means morning, noon, and night. Mm-hmm. Okay, consistent. So it's not just in front of people, it's behind closed doors. This is a lifestyle. This is a way of life. You have to look at it this way. It's not about turning the light switch on and off when you just think you need to and you think, okay, I'm turning it off. It's like taking a rag doll and then just it flops. And then you bring it back to life by lifting it up. No, you're not that individual. You know, start as you mean to move forward. Put the one foot in front of the other and go on that journey, because I promise you right now, the person who stands with his mouth open on the top of a hill, a duck will never fly into your mouth. You will never get a duck flying into your mouth. I have more chance of becoming pregnant than a duck flying into my mouth. It's not going to happen. You need to go and get that duck. You need to shoot it, wring its neck, take the feathers off, put it in the pot, cook it, and then eat it. And by the way, I'm a big fan of animals. It's just an analogy. I just want to give you this analogy that, please, you can't stand there waiting for a duck to fly into your mouth. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, this is definitely not the time to take a wait and see attitude, and it's not a time to say, you know, let's just wait out the storm. We really have to be proactive. We have to be creative. We have to be innovative, and we have to learn to. I hate to use this phrase, but it's what pops in my head. We have to think outside the box. We are being asked to do things that has never been contemplated before. So this is an opportunity for us to really set ourselves apart and to be creative in how we impact with our customers to convert them to clients, both online and offline. And we need to find ways and best practices that can make our experiences with our customers and with our clients unique and memorable, and to be emotionally intelligent, to be aware of how we are showing up in those spaces and how we are engaging with our clients, whether we are physically meeting or whether we are showing up in a virtual space. Being mindful of our nonverbal, I just cannot emphasize that enough. Making sure that everything that we communicate is one clear message to the customer, that we're attentive listeners, that we are more than delivering, that we are really stepping up our customer service to the next level that this time calls for, particularly now. And so as we move through the next several months ahead, I'm really excited that we are going to be a part of this journey together. And hopefully some of the things that Philip and I have shared with you are things that you can start applying right away. These are practical things. These are things that you can do right away, writing that note, being mindful around how you write that email. These are things you can start doing right away, making that those light touches, I call them, with clients, that can make sure that you stay in their memory and that you make an incredible impact. So etiquette, yes, it's not just about knives and fork. It's all about how we show up and how we make others feel when they're in our presence, because that's what they will remember forever. So I don't see any questions here as yet. Hopefully people are taking some good notes. You know, I just want to take a minute. Philip, sorry.
We've got roughly around 5 or 6 minutes left. So,
excellent, excellent. So I guess I just wanted to first of all, Philip, thank you so much for your availability. I know it's way past your dinner time there in London, but thank you so much. It's nice to collaborate with you on this particular topic that I know we are both extremely passionate about. We know the value of soft skills that show up and make a difference in how we succeed. And it's that differentiator that can give us the edge over the competition. So thank you so much for collaborating with me on this. And hopefully next time we collaborate, we'll be in person, but if not virtually, I look forward to some of the other things that I think we can do, like leading with emotional intelligence and a few other topics that I think would be fantastic for this market here in Bermuda. And to the BEDC, thank you so much for the opportunity to share what we think is required for this time, and how our skill set can lend itself to individuals in their professional, personal lives, and even entrepreneurs as well, which both Philip and I are now entrepreneurs. And to everyone that's been on this line, thank you so much for your time. As Philip said earlier on, it's a limited resource. So thank you for giving us an hour of your time. Thank you for listening. I hope you've taken some really great notes, and I hope you're thinking of that one thing that you can start applying right away that can really raise the level of your customers' experience, that can convert them into a client. And I wish you all the best for the remainder of 2020. And I look forward to hearing about the innovative things that you have come up with the innovative things that you have thought of and implemented to raise your game in the area of customer and client service. And we would love to hear how that has impacted your business. So please reach out to us. I am on Clarendon Wallace website, www.clarendonwallace.com. And Philip is on British School of Etiquette's website is www.britishschoolofetiquette.com. And we look forward to hearing from you real soon. Philip, any last parting words?
Just make it count, everybody. We're not in a dress rehearsal here. Life is short, and
Yeah.
you want to. People always will remember how you made them feel. I promise you that right now. And the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. So challenge yourselves. Give yourself these and small challenges, bite-sized chunks. Don't look at this like a tidal wave. Give yourself increments and little tools and little bite-sized chunks to then implement them into your life. And when they start working, then give yourself another challenge and another challenge. And I promise you, it's like a big ship at sea. You don't just turn the steering wheel and it just shifts and turns. You push the rudder, you turn the steering wheel, and it slowly starts to move in the direction you're going. And you are in control. So again, thank you, Lorene, for this great opportunity, and to the organizers for such efficiency and for giving us this platform to engage with wonderful people of Bermuda. I wish you a good morning all the way from the United Kingdom, and I do hope we have the opportunity for our paths to cross at some point in the very near future.
Great, thank you.